We're going into the phone-in segment, and we want to talk about the impact of parental drugs abuse on their children. And drug abuse is a pervasive and destructive force that affects not only individuals but also families and community. When parents struggle with substance addiction, their children suffer profoundly, often bearing the brunt of the consequences. Now, the impact of parental drug abuse on their children is multifaceted, far-reaching, and can have lasting effects on their physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. I mean, when parents take drugs, it has a way of, telling on the children, and then some children actually tend to grow, and seeing their parents do this act, they also want to emulate or, imitate what their parents are doing. Now, how can we, solve this issue is what we want to talk about. And what do you think the effect of, parental drug abuse is on their children, and how it can have a maybe long-lasting effects on them? Now, so when you call, the rules of engagement is to stay away from your TV sets, and then you call us so we can have a conversation with you. And if you can't reach us, do well to send us WhatsApp messages on the first number that is showing on the screen. Summayya, we're talking about drug abuse.
Yep, I mean
the parents now we're looking at, not just the young people.
My sister, first of all, it starts from the young people to the parent, right? That is basically what happens. The parents, the young people grow into being parents, and it is really scary with how much importation of drugs is affecting our country, how much this is making these young people now grow into parents and also facing this situation. As much as we want to lay a background of this before we talk to people, but yeah, we already have our first caller, so let's talk. Good morning. Good morning. Do we still have the caller? Are you with us? All right, go ahead, call us back or send WhatsApp message on your take. Yes, it starts with young people, but then these people get married and they start breeding children, and at the end of the day, your child does not get your attention because you are
always intoxicated with one thing or the other.
Indeed.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, Fatima.
How are you, Summayya?
I'm fine, thank you, Fatima. Good to have you.
Thank you so much. My regard to Fatima.
Good morning, Fatima.
Good morning, Fatima.
All right, so go ahead. Let's hear your take on.
Quickly, just because he's in Borno, like Maiduguri, Fatima. Let's hear from you. How are you?
Sagir also asked him yesterday, but yeah. So what's the situation like, Fatima?
In Maiduguri?
Yes.
Honestly speaking, Summayya, we have seen wonders in Maiduguri. Maiduguri water is beyond people's expectation. Let to be sincere. Because it is a genius tsunami that we see. Because my house and the river is only 3 houses, but the advantage I was in the offer land, in the very high. Because in the 2 a.m. at night, I witnessed how the water is moving. It's moving with cars and napepes. And you see trees removed from the roots and moving
really
with
scary.
it.
That is really scary.
The bridge of Lagos Bridge had been overflowed, and you cannot even see the bridge. What you see on the screen of the television and the phone is not the reality of what you see. Honestly speaking, it's only eyewitness that can testify what he sees.
Yeah, no, we understand that. Shatima, the media got it late, to cover it. So definitely we understand that we were even dealing with the aftermath, not the entire force of the water.
Exactly,
but then,
exactly.
Our hearts go to people of Maiduguri, Shatima, honestly.
We are praying for Nigerians, and we are seeking prayers from Nigerians for God intervention, and God should not show us this repeat of these things.
Amen to that. Yeah.
And we are praying for the whole universe not to see what we see.
Indeed, amen to that. All right, so let's talk about
your take on the topic.
On the topic, parental drugs abuse. Honestly speaking, whatever, if as a parent, if you engage in drugs abuse, that means you take a way of destroying your family. Because you are going to destroy the whole family. And a drug person will not train a child, no matter what. And also there is effect about it, because you are showing your children to copy from you. Children are copying from what the attitude of the parents. And I can remember there is one man who is a secret cigarette smoker. When he smoked and he dropped the little one that remained, so his child, one day he saw his child pick the tiny cigarette and light it, and he's smoking. When he see, he was shocked, and God bring the end of his smoking by seeing his child. He quickly make a U-turn on the smoking issue. So a smoker, honestly, or a drugs abuse, you have to stop, and at least by the time that you have children, you have to stop that habit, because it will affect the whole family and it will destroy the whole family. That's my take.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatima. I mean, he has said it all, you know, like when a parent is actually abusing drugs or any sort of, you know, substance. It could be alcohol, it could be anything. The children will actually pick from you.
Yeah, and apart from emulating, you lose out on parenting.
Yes.
You know,
because you're always toxicated.
You're always
you're not always yourself.
Yes. Sometimes the kids grow smartly. You know, the kids grow.
They are not taking care of the family now, the parents, yes.
And
there are pictures.
On most part, it tends to affect the child psychologically.
The growing up also.
Yes, you know. And these are things that we get to see our environment, we get to see our society being really bad. So it comes up from a child. Instead of a child to get a good parenting, the child became the parent at the earliest, or the child gets disgusted or angry at the parent, and in turn angry at the society. So we've seen a lot of things happening. I mean, what I see, especially in the western part of the country, is how much a child that came out from a very intoxicating or drug abuse family tend to have a psychological issues and it's giving it back to the society.
And you can't take that away from them because their parents are actually that way. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Summayya, Abubakar and Fatima in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, speaking to Ali Umar Shamaki from Akonga, Nasarawa State.
Thank you so much, Ali, for joining us from Nasarawa.
Yeah, the issue of drug abuse on children is a global issue. But Nigeria only became different. The truth speaking, charity begins at home. Parents must have to teach their children right from their childhood stage.
Yeah, but Ali, let me just gear you up. We're talking about drug abuse of parents now, as in how it affects the children. Do we still have Ali on the line?
Okay, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. But yeah, I'm listening. That's what I'm trying to say. So we the parents, we must know the impact and the danger of all these things. I get it. So at times we the parents, we do this thing in the presence of our children. So I remember where I'm working, you will see a parent begins to take what he's not supposed to do in the presence of children. So what about tomorrow if the children try to do that? Yes, he goes to tell him or tell them. So that's why we need to go close to God, even the parent and both the children. So this is what I can be able to put. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adeyo, for that. I appreciate your take. Yes, it's all about, we all know when we say the whole charity begins at home, but then you're at home, it's a really bad example. And we've seen a situation where both parents would actually, be drug abused, and they sit down and abuse drugs to the baddest stage. And the children are supposed to just act as if they are not watching.
I mean, if you're talking about things like this, I'm sorry to say, but making reference to Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, I mean, their child also died, their only child also died because of the drug abuse, because she grew up watching her parents do the
environment.
Same. And it has a way of taking a toll on your well-being, and then your children's well-being as well. I mean, you saw the write-up that just was on the screen. Now we're talking about alcohol, different sort of drugs, even if it is Panadol and you keep taking higher proportion, it means you're abusing it. Whether like, because there's a quantity that you're supposed to take, So it talks about how the addiction of it, the overdose. You can see it there, and then even in schools, right? Then how dangerous it is, and suicide. It's like you just did a report on suicide as well. So it has a way of putting people on depression, under depression and anxiety also. Okay, I think we have another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and location, please.
It's a regular customer, Okechuku from Ebonyi State.
Okay, Mr. Okechuku. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Let me first of all inform you that our governor, Wifru, is the first governor in the southeast to implement this minimum wage, 70,000 minimum wage.
Nice.
That is great.
Nice.
To him.
That's a good news.
So then on the impact of parental drug abuse on children, it's a topic that we cannot digest within a day. But just let's look at what we think will be a way out. Well, I've been in the midst of some parents who can boldly tell you that I train all my children through the business of drugs, maybe this marijuana and the rest of them. I've seen a parent smoking in them before the children. I've seen so many things. I've seen a parent sending his children to go and get drug for them, thereby training them in that way. Because they say charity begins at home, and as a man makes his bed, so he lies on it. The rate of banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, all these problems we're encountering today, if you look at it critically, if you were to take a very critical research, you can believe with me that all this comes from home, especially from parents who feel the way to bring up their children is by, exposing them to drugs. So that there's no reasonable human being, an educated, reasonable human being that suffer to get himself trained, that will indulge in this drug abuse. Then one other problem we have is this, our politicians. Most of them are the drug addicts. You see, they are drug addicts. Most of them. You discover in Nigeria, you hardly see a well-trained graduate coming on board to contest for any position and eventually won. It's always this drug pusher, this drug addict people. And that's why they cannot fight it. Because these are the things they have been into before they came on board as leaders. So, just like I said, charity begins at home. It begins with our leaders. What have they done to people arrested? What measure have they put in place? You see, when they arrest somebody today, tomorrow you see the person being released. Call from our big men who will be coming in. No, don't do it. Just release it. You see the same person being released and still go to commit same crime. You see? So as we are discussing on how parents, that's why I say it's not a topic that we can digest in a day. As we are discussing on how parents should avoid this, we should also look into our leaders who will not allow the law enforcement agency to do their work.
All right.
Somebody will be arrested. So let government bring up a measure, a policy that will checkmate and implement it.
All right. Thank you so much for your input on this topic, Mr. Okechukwu.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I mean, he made mention saying, I mean, the problem is there, it's eating deep, but what are we doing to hold these people accountable?
Yeah, you know,
and one of it is the government should implement the law. Drugs is a huge crime, so there should be implementation of, if they catch you doing drugs or selling or buying, then you should be held accountable. I
mean, they get to arrest a lot of people. The NDLA is there doing their job when, you know, searching things that goes in and out of the country, and we've seen a lot of reports that they've actually, you know, caught people with this tons of drugs, cocaine,
really,
you know,
ridiculous.
marijuana, and what have you.
Just recently, fixed it in her hair extension. Just recently,
I mean, people do a lot of crazy things just to, you know, export or import.
And it breaks our heart that these people are not patriotic enough to know that this thing that you're coming in just for your own pocket, just one person, you have decided to play into the role of spreading bad, toxic things into your community that you know will ruin your society. So yes, people honestly need to be held accountable, but the NDLA are doing their part, and when it comes to making sure the entire country grows mentally, physically, economically, and all of that, it is not a one-man's job. Everybody have their own part. So we are talking about the part of the parent.
Yes.
Sometimes the parents also have their own parents. So if their parents are looking over them, community are paying attention to these things, then we can all join hands in order to move.
I mean, a lot of people tend to listen to, you know, our religious leaders as well, so they can have a role to play in this also. Hello, good morning.
My contribution, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I want to make my contribution, please.
Okay, please, your name and location.
I'm calling from Abuja. I am Dr. Yinka Williams.
Okay, Mr. Dr. Yinka.
The country director of African Emergency Humanitarian Foundation.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I mean, you called at the right time.
Thank you so much. The impact of parental on drug abuse on children is very, very, very enormous. If you see any parents, either the mother or the father, indulge in this, definitely possibility of harming that child is there. They will not know the impact or the effect of abuse or the extent it will go. I disagree with the last caller who says government should come in. You see, there was a time we run a communal family. If I do something wrong, the next door neighbor will see me, give me correction, or call attention of my parents to it. But there's nothing like that now. Until we go back to base, whereby we see our neighbor as our family. NDLA cannot be everywhere. Police cannot be everywhere. When you started taking drug or indulge in all this kind of taking some maybe cigarettes or alcohol and all these things, definitely if you go to a point, you need to send your children. And by the time you are sending them on errand to get me this, get me that, children are very inquisitive. They want to know what this and this are for. From there, they take after you. So my take is this. We better go back to base, whereby we will run in a community as a family. Governments are not ghosts. We see most things before the government. We see most things before the security agents. When you see a father who engage in drug publicly, shamefully, and without caring about those in his environment, maybe his children or the neighbor children, all these things are the foundations. All these are the foundations. It is ourselves that we need the situation in the board. You understand me? These kind of parents are very, very dangerous to the society, even to the children themselves. So those in their environment will definitely need to come out and voice out. You understand me? If you do anything in the corner of your room, nobody will see you, but somebody in the neighborhood will definitely see you. The extent the abuse is going. We have a lot of reports here and there about these abuses, and we don't get to the base of it. So that is it, my sisters.
All right, thank you so much for your input this morning as well. You made a very, very important point, about how these things take and affect the children and what they have been doing, from their own end when they go out to the field. And he said something like the NDLA cannot be everywhere, the police cannot be everywhere. And I mean, it's crazy how you see these laws and this body is trying to do things, and then there are still loopholes here and there that these things are still ongoing. Some people, I mean, it was crazy when I saw that some people are actually have a farm of marijuana in their fields or something, and they have a way of hiding it.
From the community.
Crazy.
But based on what he said, it all brings us back to how we grew up. While we're growing up, I always say it with pride that it was not just my parent that helped in the upbringing. Yes, we had
the community. Neighbors
and
also.
Sometimes if our parents are not home, the others are putting eye on watching us, and if you do something on the street, the neighbor will not walk up to your parent and say you did it. They will discipline you right there.
I mean, you get to play with their children, so they'll always correct you. So, and some parents, when they are going out, they will tell the neighbor, please watch
over. Exactly. So when it comes to parenting doing this, it's up to us, of course, to make sure we check on our neighbors. Are they in the right frame of mind? Are they doing right by their kids? If not, before you head on to the law enforcement, perhaps you should reach out to their families, how they can be helped. If it's that bad, maybe they will need some sort of rehab or something. That would actually help. So it brings us back to what we said. It's not just these people, law enforcement agencies, that should be expected to do their job. While they are doing it, what are we supposed to do as an individual, giving back to our own community, as Nigerians, as humans? All of that is a responsibility. So yes, I appreciate Doctor for sharing that. All right, let's pick this call. Good morning. All right, we lost that call. Do not forget that you can send WhatsApp messages via WhatsApp. Let's just quickly get your take on what you think the impact is on parents, and how we can solve solutions of parent drug abuse on their kids.
This just reminded me, just when you were talking, and I was just casting my mind back to, a while back in Kaduna when I went to visit. I saw parents actually I would say newlywed, because their child is still kind of just a month or 2 months. They went to buy drugs with the child inside the car, and the music was loud. Like, I mean, it's that crazy, because I was in the neighbor's house, and then they came to pass, and she said the both parents are actually drug addicts, and they are married. Their child was inside the car.
I mean, you see these stories and you think it's just done outside the country.
It's actually happening everywhere. And you'll be wondering why they have the like minds to do the same thing that is happening in other countries that is happening here. I mean, there are people. There are people that tend to have like minds, that maybe someone in a different place is doing similar things to what you're doing.
And there is this something that we're not addressing, Fatima. The fact that parents in this part of the country, or in Nigeria rather, in this part of the continent, tend to send off their kids to marriage the moment they see that person is becoming some sort of wayward, irresponsible, and they'll tell you, when you get married, you're going to be responsible automatically. If the man is a drug abuser, then the woman is left with the responsibility of caring and guiding a grown man. And then if it is a woman, then a man is left to
you just right, because we had this conversation, remember, a while back, where we said a guy that was abusing drugs and was married off because he was going to be responsible.
And a young girl is supposed to lead him to stop when the parent could not even do that.
That's what they keep saying, actually.
So it's like we try to just push our problems to someone else and expect that person to do the best, and if he doesn't do, then they will like, but you are his wife, why are you not? And when you come out to help, someone would even shame you, wife shame you and say you're not doing enough, or husband shame you to say as a husband you're not doing enough.
Way of just getting into people. If your parents are, let's say, just common tea, when you see your parents constantly taking to you, when you grow up, you think to do same, you know. And then same thing, okay. And same thing happens when you peer pressure makes you go into it, because you're always out there with,
it's not wrong about parents. My parents are already doing it.
Yeah, so always, because you're with your peers and you find yourself doing the same thing they're doing, you find it difficult. So you see some parents struggling to stop their children from abusing drugs and doing one thing. But when you have a family where people just sit down, this one is taking codeine, or this one is taking weed, or this one is taking that, it's actually crazy. Because I bumped into a picture where Bulama, I think, sketched a picture, you know, a while back of about parents, sitting down. Everyone was just on one thing or the other. It's crazy. So let's take this message. It's coming from Sunday Raphael from Makurdi, Benue State. It says, good morning to Daybreak crew. Any individual who is involved in drug is already on a wrong track. Therefore, the decision to raise children on that wrong track will definitely impact negatively on any child they decide to raise. The best thing to do is to get help and free, from such indulgence before deciding to settle and raise children. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
So basically what I'm saying, parents, if at all you see your children whom you eagerly want to get off your hand, if you see your children walking through that path, then you should make sure you go seek help for them first, before putting them in a parental way. These children, immediately they get married, are supposed to start bearing kids, and when they birth kids, you expect them to teach the kids the right morals. And honestly, it is really scary. Like the doctor earlier said, talking about someone that is intoxicated, it's already there is already a thought of harming that child. So that child could lose his life, could lose, could be hurt physically, mentally, so it is really something that we really need to dissect. All right, let's read this message from Rabiu Abdul Lankanjiba from Katsina State, where he said, good morning, Rabiu. The impact of drug abuse on children can be particularly significant. Children of parents with substance use disorders may experience neglect, absolutely, abuse, or other trauma, which can have long-lasting effects on their health and well-being. Appreciate you. You just hit the nail, on the head, Rabiu. Yes, there is neglect. Most times, these kids grow up having to take care of themselves. There is also abuse. That the parent is not in their right frame of mind, so they could verbally or physically abuse these children that could leave a long-lasting trauma. And of course, there is that trauma. And the scary part is how much this continues to, ruin the society, because a child, that grew up out of drug-abused parental guidance, trust me, that child would not really bring impactful, things to the society. So that we start getting it wrong from there. And we see a lot of there was a recent, shooting situation that happened in the USA. Can't remember the state, where 14-year-old went to a primary school and just shoot out a lot of children and even teachers. And what we learned from that is that his parents were drug abusers, especially the mom, and there was this anger issue where they were both all fighting, and this child grew up from that. So this is one of the impacts you get to see on children. Children grow up being angry at the society and saying, you know what, if I'm gonna go, then I'm taking some people with me, because they feel the society is not fair on them. And hence the reason why, as much as a parent give birth to a child, it's not just up to the parent to make sure that child acts right. So it's up to all of us to check on, and if there is something that needs calling for the child's sake, we should not do the whole
you remember when we had the issue of drug abuse on young people, when we picked a video of a young guy that killed his mom because she refused to give him money and all that. So it's really sad that the drug abuse does not leave the young nor the old in this situation. I don't know how we came about it in the first place. How did people even know that you can actually take certain amount of drugs and just get high, or just be wherever you want to be at that point? I mean, it's crazy. I keep thinking of that sometimes.
Indeed.
Okay, it says, good morning, Summayya and Fatima. There are so many negative impact of parental drugs abuse on children as follows. The children are bound to be stigmatized by outsiders, which can lead to low self-esteem. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. The parents cannot effectively cater for the economic needs of the children, and this will give rise to so many psychological and physical problems on the children, e.g. children emotional imbalance and child labor, to mention a few. This is coming from Ayuba, Gombe State. Thank you so much, Ayuba from Gombe, for that message. I mean, he just also said it, it has a way of affecting children, mentally and emotionally.
I just caught on the stigmatization
facing the neglect alone has a lot to do with why parents should actually consider
be sane in order to help their kids. All right, let's take the next call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, your name and where you're calling from. Is that Ade?
Yes, Ade from London.
Okay, good.
How are you, beautiful?
I wanted to say Ade, but I just smiled.
This morning, like as we.
All right, let's hear from you, Ade.
Well, to me, any bad habit of a parent will reflect in the life of their children. This drug, being whatever alcoholic, whatever bad attitude, will definitely have impact in the life of the children. But what I thought about, most especially in Nigeria now, is that the danger of those drug people have money for that drug, they will go and steal and do anything to get money to carry out that habit. That is the danger I'm saying. And that is what is causing the bandits. Because they go on drugs, so they don't have mercy for anybody. They kill, they do whatever, the kidnappers. That's what they take. So in UK here, they are trying their best, to make sure they curb it and give them a rehabilitation center where they can go and take care of them, because it's very, very expensive. So what they do is that someone will rent a house for somebody and plant Indian hemp in that house. Look like somebody is living there, nobody is living there. Bypass the electricity, they won't pay for it. So but at the end of the day, neighbor will phone the police and get them. Because there are no movement in that house, people will talk. That's the job of pensioner. It's not officially, but unofficially, because they have nothing to do. Tell police what is going on, which is different in Nigeria. So I believe that this country touch it. Start employment. To find out the rehabilitation center, what is the cause of this? Why are they taking this job? I believe the present NDLA is doing a good job on that area. So, because if they don't get that money, they go and straight to get the money. But like I normally say, everything requires prayer to save those type of people, even drunkards. Those who go down of the house, go out and get drunk. Then all those habits reflect on the life of the children when they grow up and marry. Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless Nigeria. God bless Trust TV.
God bless you too.
Thank you so much. God bless you too, Ade. Appreciate your take on that. Yes, anything that a parent already decide to do will reflect on their kids. But then one thing that Ade pointed that we have not covered is what the abuse even does to the parents themselves. I mean, the parent would have to go into other bad situations, which is stealing and finding any ways.
And they can even abuse their children as well. Let's not keep that out. When you're intoxicated on something, you get to abuse your children.
Yeah, I think one of the message we read, Najiba pointed at that out.
Yeah, so you abuse your children in a way that you wouldn't even believe you did. I mean, we've seen certain reports on the parents who are always abusing drugs, killing, or manhandling and what have you, that they had to take the children away from them. So I feel we
don't do it here.
Yeah, I know. That's when the last caller said there should be something that the government should do. I think the government, aside from the NDLA, is to find out a way where the human right can actually take the children away when they notice the parents are actually abusing drugs, and probably take them to rehab.
Yeah.
You know, just so that they can get it out of their system before returning the children
Indeed.
for them, only when they are sure. And you know, in outside the country, you keep going for tests to make sure that you are not intoxicated in any way. The drugs is out of your system before your children gets returned
back to you.
So I think when they are taking their children away and they notice that they are losing on their children, they become the right of the government to say, oh, we're not giving your children until you stop doing this. I think that would actually help.
All right. I mean, due to time of constraint, we have to put a stop here. But I'm leaving you with this message saying, young kids out there leaving secondary school to universities, having people around in case if you did not make your jam, the period of staying at home. We know how depression can set in, but make sure you're smart enough not to. When we're talking about parents being intoxicated, it always starts from your childhood, based on your decision you make, the peer groups you keep, and allowing pressures to get into you to make that unwise decision. We hope that wherever you are, a kid, a grown-up, would make right decision by yourself and your future generation in order not to get to a point of you abusing drugs. Because of time constraint, of course, thank you so much for everyone that called in, sent in WhatsApp message. Sorry we could not even take all the messages. Appreciate you, but do not forget, on Monday we're coming back. We'll get to open the phone line and you would get to share your take on another topic. But I appreciate everyone that shared in their take today.